My name is Classified for security reasons, and welcome back to Slay the Spire. Let's just drop that volume on my side. Yeah, it's back up to what it was previously. Beautiful. Oh, I do like the removal here. But now it gets a little dodgy. We need to get 2 upgrades before I really want to take any elites on with this. Okay. Well, there is this path that has an early shop, which is really unfortunate because we're not going to have the money to really do anything with it. But then it has 2 rests, and it has a bunch of fights as well. Those fights being prime opportunities to pick up cards in the early game so that I can actually decide my build. So we're effectively just deciding that we're going to have 1 bad shop, and then afterwards we'll be in good position. Yeah, as this character, I should be able to actually just full defend and keep going. Got him. I do like FTL, just a little bit of free damage right there. Okay, so we're not going to get the best possibility, which was there being an event here that gives us some money. Probably should have attacked before I used that, just so that I could make sure that I was closest to my next attack, but oh well. Skim is going to be a little interesting in this deck because the deck is super thin right now, and I'm going to upgrade the Zap and Dual Cast really soon. Yay, nothing we can do anything with. We should actually probably have a look at the relics because they're not going to show up. So Chemical X, Giria, and Wing Boots. Okay, cool. Just got to keep those in mind. I don't want to end up at any position in the future where I'm desperately hoping that one of those happens to turn up because I know they won't now. Go for the eyes. Okay, so now we have like a little bit of a zero cost theming going on. I hate this. Ugh. We've had 3 fights so far? No, this is our 3rd fight. No, 3 fights, right? Because including the start space. We've had 3 fights so far. I've had 0 opportunity to pick up an AoE card. I'm about to have so much damage dealt to me over the course of this fight. It's really saddening. And this Gremlin Wizard, unless I get extremely lucky, because I'm going to be constantly weakened here, and the Shield Gremlin is going to be defending, unless I'm really lucky, I'm not going to be able to take out that Gremlin Wizard before it does a ridiculous amount of damage to me. Okay, never mind. I got really lucky. It got hit with one of those lightning bolts, and it got hit with one of the lightning orbs from the previous round. It's worth noting, yeah, that was pretty lucky for that to have happened. It was pretty likely that this was going to resolve with me taking a bunch of damage. Don't need to do any more attacking. Don't need to take any more damage this combat. Easy. Take a copy of Ball Lightning. I mean... You know what? I'm going to pass it. I'm going to get ready for some more zero-cost action. That like the Ball Lightning would be really, really good in the early game for me, but then in the late game, it would be a problem that I've included that in my deck, and I'd want to get it out as fast as possible. Alright. Glacier or Claw? Well, Claw is obviously leaning into the zero-cost build. Glacier is obviously just ridiculous as a card, though. I haven't done a Claw build recently. We will have elites later, so I'm actually going to drop that Swift Potion for another Fire Potion. And now we're in a position where a lot of the elites that we encounter, we can just double dunk them with the Fire Potions. Whetstone upgrades FTL and Strike. Okay. Could have been better, could have been worse. Pretty simple hand right there, frankly. I'm going to skim. I'm just looking for defense here. Then I'll defend before I FTL. I actually might just have lethal here now. Nice. Beam cell? Yep. Alright, we've got a lot of variety on our zero costs. We just now need the ability to fetch them relatively inexpensively. Okay, if the frontliner gets hit twice here, we could have been in a little bit better of a position. Alright, skim first, because we're definitely doing that. Okay, strike to the front line, dual cast, beam cell, strike, easy. I do like genetic algorithm if you get it this early, so I'll take it. I'll probably even upgrade it right now. I do want to go to the shop just because there's a couple things I would desperately want to pick up. Oh, that's a hyper beam in a deck that doesn't really have any reliance on orbs yet. And it'll carry us through the next floor. I could also take Panacea, but then I have to have the Panacea before I get the hyper beam, and I need there to be no debuff supplied to me into in between those two events. Just, it gets a little messy. I think we just remove another strike. Great. Hyper beam is obviously incredible in this fight. So we'll start out with the dual cast. Then we can hyper beam. This orb only matters if I can evoke it, right? So I'm just setting the frontliner to a point where a single strike will take them down. Trying to minimize the possibility of a ridiculous amount of incoming damage. I just did the exact same to the sentry that's going to be attacking next as well. I definitely want to use genetic algorithm. It has to be used at some point in this fight. Nice. Toxic egg. Whenever you add a skill card to the deck, upgrade it. Hell yes. That's another claw. I have to take it. I'm duty bound to take it. Let's upgrade that hyper beam. We're not upgrading that hyper beam for the sake of this boss, although it is also pretty good for upgrading that hyper beam for the sake of this boss. But we're mostly upgrading it for the sake of the next floor. So now Zap and Dual Cast can be pretty happily cut from this deck. If I strike now, I split the enemy already. It's pretty likely that I get a better split next turn. Not guaranteed, but pretty likely. Okay, so I can throw a fire potion here, and because the HP value of the slime boss when it splits is the HP value, or rather the max HP value of the two smaller slimes, it effectively does double damage. But it's whether or not I need to do that I have to debate here. Because I don't think I do. But the rest of my deck, so my next two draws are complete garbage. Okay, I'll do one. Okay. If I desperately need to, I can throw a fire potion in the back line as well. The genetic algorithm played, and I mean, I don't desperately need to. It saves me 3 HP. I don't care about perfecting this boss. Three HP is just such a minuscule difference. Alright, I know that my next stand has Hyper Beam in it, so we've got lethal. Got him. Boom. Another Hyper Beam? Core Surge. I mean, it's just a totally reasonable attack to include in this deck, and it negates the first negative effect of Hyper Beam, should they be drawn in the right order. Buffer is also really, really strong. Amplify is unfortunately very, very weak unless your whole deck is powers. So it's definitely Core Surge or Buffer here. I feel like it's probably just Core Surge. Lean into the aggression. Extra Energy is actually a little bit useful in this deck. Not only because we have the Hyper Beam, but also because we have Skim. and we're heavily incentivized to pick up more draw. It's also worth noting that the Pandora's Box and the Orrery are not, particularly attractive options here. If I take the Pandora's Box, it transforms all of my basic strikes and defense. I've got one upgraded strike, but mostly what I care about here is I have exactly no defense save for the genetic algorithm if I do the Pandora's Box. And I might pick up more defense, but I might not. I do understand that the Toxic Egg means that if any strike and defend card is transformed into a skill card, that skill card will be immediately upgraded, but it might not necessarily be synergistic with the build that we're running. Basically, the only thing that I would really want is like some powerful defensive cards, nothing orb related, obviously, because I've already taken the Hyper Beam, and draw. And that's not a majority of the cards that exist for the defect. The Ori would obviously give me 5 different choices of cards, and I would have to select skills among them, but it's not guaranteed to give me anything useful. I'm more than happy to take the Cursed Key here. Right. Alright, let's go for the Emerald Elite. 2 elites on this floor, 3 rests. Pretty good, pretty good. Okay, hopefully I get the... I was hoping for Genetic Algorithm here, but... evidently that one's not available. Enemy's not defending this turn, but I'm also not super likely to draw lethal. No, I've got it. I do need to play the Genetic Algorithm before I kill, so that I can increment it for the next time. Turbo Cool-Headed Leap. Cool-Headed would actually be reasonable as a draw card for this build if it wasn't for the fact that we have the Hyper Beam. Turbo's not necessary. Not yet, at least. If I had an awful one, I would consider it, especially if I had an awful one and a hologram. I think I'm just going to take that Leap, include a defensive card. It's already pre-upgraded as well. I do like getting colorless cards when I have the ability to upgrade them immediately, but I feel like I actually probably just straight up leave here. Yeah. Because my first elite is the Emerald Elite, so I don't want to get in a bad position there. Yeah. Got Core Surge next hand. Easy. There's a hologram, Steam Barrier, and Equilibrium. I'd happily take any of these. Probably the best for us right now is going to be the hologram, so that we can return things like the Hyper Beam to our hand and then play them again. Just to get a little bit more of the offensive power. It's also worth noting that the claws will obviously be great with that. Defense. Okay, we've got some defense here. So 3, 13, so 16 on the back line, and then the possibility of them dying. Yeah, we take that. Nice. Saves me using the Fire Potion, which was actually another thing I was considering that turn. So I want to hologram back the Leap for as much defense as I can possibly get here. Very nice. I'll accept 1 damage, because playing that Hyper Beam is so damn important here. Genetic Algorithm. There's no ordering consideration there. I couldn't have removed all of the enemy's armor with the dual cast. Oh, but I could have dual cast and then struck and then core searched, right? Yeah, no. Okay, there was an ordering consideration there and I failed it. Equilibrium, Reprogram, and Stack. Reprogram would be good if I had the ability to bring 0-cost cards back from my discard pile, but I don't yet have that, so I'm not taking it. Equilibrium? Yeah, I'll take a single copy off. Just as a powerful defensive card, effectively. Alright, I'm more than happy to throw a Fire Potion in this combat because this combat can take so much of your HP. It is wild. However, I don't need to. Chill. Innate already as well. Beautiful. Beautiful. So that's going to be in our opening hand. So it will provide us some defense until we draw our... One sec while I upgrade this beam cell, definitely. Until we draw our hyper beam, but also only if we draw our hyper beam before we draw our other card that I've forgotten the name of. Okay, let's take a second to talk about the ordering considerations in this fight. So, the Taskmaster trashes your deck, that's their negative effect. However, they always deal 7 damage. The backliner deals 14, the frontliner deals 13. Each of them have the ability to slightly weaken their attack and apply vulnerability in case of the Slaver in the backline, and weakness in case of the Slaver in the frontline. So, because for most decks, this is, because the trashing of your deck only matters in the second shuffle, and by the second shuffle, you should have either the backliner or the frontliner or both down. You don't really need that much value out of your hands at the end, right? So it's fine if your deck is a little bit trashed because you only need to defend for 7 per turn and then deal a little bit of damage on top of that. That's not difficult to do, frankly. So the big consideration is that the Slaver in the backline applies vulnerability to you, and then if everyone attacks the next round, you're suddenly taking 50 damage. And most decks by this point do not have the ability to block that. Pretty much exactly how I expected this one to go down. Let's genetic algorithm. I'm going to core surge the backline, hyper beam, FTLU, and then completely defend. So effectively, I'm just going in order of the ones that will damage me the most, right? Because the negative effect of the trashing should not matter. Obviously, there will be decks for which the negative effect of that trashing matters a lot. For instance, if you have an infinite and you draw your infinite in your opening hand, hey, you should probably kill the Taskmaster first. But also, that's an infinite. Those are the considerations I make, at least. I don't necessarily say that those are going to be the best for all playstyles and all people, but that's what I do and why I do it. Ooh, Omamori, negate the next 2 curses you obtain. Great, we can actually start opening chests again. Thank you. Block potions, nice, but not necessary. I'll take another claw, though. Upgrade the Go for the Eyes. Weaken for 2 turns is incredible. Skim is our next upgrade. Warpaint, upon pickup, upgrade 2 random skills. Sure. 2 defense. I'm more than fine with that. I do need a little bit more defense here. What do I want to throw away? See, if I throw away a blue card, like an Equilibrium, I get a full heal here. I'm going to throw away FTL. It's a little bit of damage for us. Yes, that's totally true. But I also intend to use things like Skim to draw a lot, so drawing into it isn't necessarily good. Should I make that argument? Maybe it's chill. Yeah, maybe I was wrong to pick up chill. I'm removing it. Full heal right there. Great, great stuff. So I'm gonna Equilibrium here. I'm not gonna Beam Cell because it's 0 cost and I already have it in my hand. So I can just play it next turn, it's fine. The reason I don't want to play it yet is obviously I want the effect of it to be for longer, right? For more impactful hands as well. Beam Cell, FTL, there's the Hyper Beam. Pretty much exactly how I expected that one to go down. Easy. So we've already got genetic algorithm played, which means we can just end this fight. There's a little consideration on the part of charged battery here. Just as another defensive card. Yeah. Let's get Get the skim upgraded as well. Okay, Book of Stabbing. Good to see. It's a lot of block on turn 1. I don't necessarily need all of it, but I do need some of it. Incremented the claw twice in the early game. Not bad. Also managed to negate the first negative effects of the Hyper Beam. Also pretty damn good. Ah, yes, I should have drawn first. I forgot about the fact that I had the Beam Cell in the deck, so I could have gotten extra damage by drawing. It's entirely my bad. Is Equilibrium still in the deck? Yes. That's very little HP to lose in this fight, frankly, so pretty pleased with how this has gone. Blood Vial at the start of each combat, heal for 2 HP, as well as another leap. I think we're done with that. I'm not super comfortable with this right now. I don't even need to play Equilibrium here. But I know the next turn is a lot of attacking, so you know what? I'm going to play Equilibrium, which is actually going to short me defense this turn. I'm not going to play the Genetic Algorithm. You know what? I will play the Fire Potion, actually. There we go. So it doesn't short me defense, and it leaves the Genetic Algorithm in my hand for the next turn, where it'll be a lot more impactful. Here. The enemy is not going to be vulnerable for a while. Okay. Guess I just bring back Dual Cast then. Easy. Steroid Potion as well as another Skim. Thank you very much. Pre-upgraded as well. Incredibly powerful. We'll now start to upgrade these claws. They're pretty low value targets though. The only reason I'm upgrading them is basically because... Should be fine in this fight, yeah. Yeah, the only reason I'm really upgrading them here is because we intend to add some cards into the deck that allow us to play them multiple times over. So we should get a lot of effect out of it. Great. I mean, that was a pretty damn good turn right there. Beam Cell FTL. I'll hologram back another claw, probably the upgraded one. So claws are scaling elements in scaling element in fights like this. I'm gonna hologram out actually another Skim. Yep. I mean, I've got to turn off of the enemy attacking, so I should really take as much advantage of that as possible. Get as many claws out as I possibly can. Incoming. Okay. Skim, Beam Cell. I mean, the enemy's not weakened, so... Drawing... Oh, I don't even have the weakness in here. I have the weakness in the discard pile right now. Alright. Pull out, go for the eyes, weaken the enemy. Pretty good. Alright, so I gotta remember that I do need to use the Genetic Algorithm. Alright, I'm going to Equilibrium this turn. Get ready to use the Genetic Algorithm next turn as basically my only defense. Great. Pretty well set up, pretty well knocked down. Power Potion. Choose one of 3 random power cards out of your hand. It costs 0 this turn. I think I'll drop the Strength Potion for that because we can more than easily make the Steroid Potion stick around by using it on the same turn as the Core Surge. Reboot. just refill my hand after I play all of the stuff. I'm not going to take the Frozen Core here because, again, it will get useless really quickly. The Black Star elites drop an additional relic when defeated is actually a little bit appealing here. I'm going to take that and try and hunt as many elites as I possibly can this floor because we're in a good position against most elites this floor, I feel. Okay, so there's a 3 elite path and we're kind of obliged to take it. Okay, this leaves the genetic algorithm in my hand for a much more aggressive turn. We now have the much more aggressive turn I was waiting for. Goodbye, Orb Walker. Hello. Do I want to take a Sunder in this deck? No. There's a little bit of appeal there, but no. Hyper Beam turn 1. It does get them all down on HP, which is nice. I guess I can also just wait for the hologram, then fish back that same card. Good defensive draw that turn after. There's the hologram, pull back Hyper Beam, and win. Nice. Energy Potion, probably not super important for us. Charge Battery versus Loot versus Steam Barrier. Yeah, I'll take the Charge Battery. Because we have that extra skim in the deck now. I could get 990 gold for only 1 curse in the deck, but then the problem is normality does kill me, so unless this is a shop, I could be in real dire straits. Also, where am I going to spend all of that money? Sweet. Thankfully, this deck does have access to, like, a ridiculous amount of defense. So we're in a pretty good position to be fighting this enemy, where the only thing you really care about is can you defend as well as offend. And yes, we can. Reboot here. Nice, we just got another charge battery, so we're already fully defended. Although we need not be, because we're about to put the enemy back on the ground. Okay, let's pull back a giant defensive card. Let's actually go with the leap here. Alright, I'm actually going to be able to perfect this one as well. Well, more than likely. Got him. Turnip, you can no longer become frail. Was the boss on the end of this floor going to do that to me? Yeah, it was actually, so that's actually quite useful. We'll take a hologram here as well. I can't believe this isn't an elite fight, by the way. This is just a floor fight. Oh, rough. Okay, let's skim first. See, I should do a lot of attacking first in order to decide exactly how much I need to defend for. And whether or not I want to attack again in order to change the enemy's intent. I think I do here. Since we've gone past both skims and the reboot now, I think we just play the leap. I don't think we care about the extra energy next time. Well, not too much I could have done about that one, unfortunately. Don't want to change the enemy's intent again and end up in a really bad position here. So now I actually want the enemy to be attacking for absolutely as much as they possibly can. So I'm going to hologram back the Hyper Beam. Use that. Hey, 42, beautiful. I don't care about it. There's a genetic algorithm. Probably the best we're gonna get here. God, I hate this enemy so much. Actually makes me mad. Alright. Alright. I can't prevent that effect with what I currently hold, so... Nice. 18, I'll only take 1 damage. That is to say, artifacting does not prevent the effect where the enemy has a strong negative and they just put a parasite into your deck. Omamori would prevent it, but there's also... One sec while I sort this out. But there's also a chest coming up soon, and I'm going to want to use the Omamori to open that chest. Okay. Should probably use Equilibrium here rather than Genetic Algorithm. Genetic Algorithm is super useful later, like for a more powerful offensive turn. So here I'm not even going to full defend, but... Only miss it by 8. The enemies are attacking for 28 this turn? Wow, that is extremely not a Genetic Algorithm turn for us then. Stress my deck. Yeah. I'm gonna hologram back the charge battery, use it again, so we fully defend here. But the really important part is that we have a bunch of extra energy and our deck has Hyper Beam, hologram back the Hyper Beam, use the Hyper Beam again. Looks like we're probably not going to play Genetic Algorithm before this is all out, but that's okay. Yeah, Reboot finds us lethal. Ice Cream! Energy is now conserved between turns. Nice. Cream. Do I want to take the Sweeping Beam? It's pretty late to take that. Yeah, we don't want any of these. Let's go for the Skim. Ooh. Very much not what I wanted. Go for another Skim. Just... pretty tragic hand right there, to be entirely honest with you. Yeah, lost a lot of my defense already as well. Alright, I'm fishing for a buffer. I don't get it. Take Electro. Well, at least we got a really good defensive card there. Obviously, don't play the Hyper Beam. Get some extra energy for the next turn, at least. That's Claw, Core Surge, Zap, Hologram back the Hyper Beam? No, I think we go Claw. God, that's 6 burns already in my deck now. That's just a lot. And obviously, we're dead. Awful, awful draws in that entire fight. God awful. So we had, obviously, a ridiculous amount of defensive cards in our deck, but the enemy literally just going deck trash, 45 damage, deck trash, 45 damage, made it pretty impossible for me to find them at the right times. Even the Genetic Algorithm was still left in our deck. We obviously could have, on the next shuffle, drawn any of our draw cards, our Reboot even, because we still hadn't used that, any of the defensive cards, but no, we just got like 1 defend. For most of those fights, we were over-defending, and in that one, we just suddenly weren't. Ugh. I would have guessed that we were going to be fine with that fight. Just that specific series of attacks and the specific series of draws where we got no real attack on the turns where the enemy was tangible, where I could actually fight them. Only defense. And then no real defense on the enemy where the turns where the enemy was attacking is just remarkably poor. I'm a little bit saddened by that, but that's okay. That deck was going to need a little bit more to get through Time Eater. Time Eater was going to be a bit of a problem because effectively our whole game plan was going to be at that point just defend and play as many claws as possible. And without something like Scrape or All for One in the deck, you don't necessarily have the ability to get your claws to ramp as fast as you would need in order to get past a boss like that. But I would have done a fair crack at it, I think, and possibly would have even won. Just damn. So we lost 5 HP in that fight and then 30 instantly. And to the Writhing Mass beforehand, we just lost a ridiculous amount. God, I hate the Writhing Mass. It did get nerfed. I would not be surprised if it got nerfed again when more regular updates start coming back out. But until then, my name's been Rhapsody. Damn it! That was classified! Hopefully you've been enjoying yourselves. There's a playlist in the description down below with all my content of the game, past, present, and future, and hopefully we'll see you next time.